Live, local, late breaking. This is Newswatch 12 this morning.
Good morning. The time is 6:30 on August 7th. Welcome to Newswatch 12 this morning. I'm Carlos Murrieta. We're taking a live look out Gold Beach by Jerry Rogue Jets. We first want to turn over to Storm Tracker 12 meteorologist Sarah Kress for a look at our Thursday. And Sarah, when can we expect that heat to crank up?
Well, tomorrow it'll be a little bit warmer, but Saturday is really when that heat builds in. So we do have a little bit of time. And by a little bit, I mean really just today. Here's a live look out across the region. More clouds this morning as your areas over west side. We're at 65 into Medford, 61 into Gold Beach. But as you work your way into Eureka, you're at 60 this morning, brighter skies. Same deal over into the Klamath Basin. Klamath Falls at 49. We're getting a little brightness to our day now, but what can we expect outside? Well, radar not catching anything out this morning. We will remain dry for our day today. If you're heading out to the Siskiyou County or Siskiyou Golden Fair, it is going to be feeling pretty nice. 86 for your high, mostly sunny, blustery winds, and everyone will be feeling those winds pick up into the afternoon today along the coast, areas east side, and into Siskiyou County is where they'll be the strongest. But anywhere across the region, we're expecting those gusts from about 20 to 30 miles per hour by the time we're into this evening. Now, clouds are going to decrease as we're over into the Rogue Valley. A lot more sunshine for us by the second half of the day, joining the rest of the region with passing high-level clouds. So skies will remain bright for the whole region, especially as you're into your evening. Now, coming up in our next forecast, I'll go ahead and take a look at your highs around the rest of the region and take a closer look at this heat up on the way for your weekend.
Governor Tina Kotek signed multiple House bills that will improve and expand mental health and addiction care in Oregon. House Bill 3321 requires the Alcohol and Drug Policy Commission to develop and implement a statewide substance abuse prevention plan for health, which aids in substance abuse care, hosted the signing at their Portland location.
These bills are really lifting up all those personal stories to address the issues of care, when people can get care, and where they can get care.
More information on these bills, what they do, and when they will go into effect is on our website. In new this morning, U.S. Senators Alex Padilla and John Cornyn have announced that the Transportation Emergency Relief Extension Act, which would extend the deadline for using Federal Highway Administration funds following disasters. At the same time, Representatives Doug LaMalfa and John Garamendi are also leading a similar legislation in the House of Representatives. Currently, if projects funded by relief efforts do not start by the end of the second fiscal year after a disaster, funding can be revoked. The new legislation would give states more time to address regulatory barriers and begin rebuilding efforts without losing financial support. And Curry County Sheriff John Ward filed complaints against a county councilman for misconduct to the Oregon State Bar Association. Now, those complaints have been dismissed. The letter was first sent on October 4th, claiming County Counsel Ted Fitzgerald had initiated a vendetta against the sheriff. The State Bar said there was no evidence of professional misconduct, and a closer look at this can be found on our website at kdrv.com. And Pacific Power unveiled its newest wildfire tool. It provides information to make better informed decisions about emergency de-energizations. Newswatch 12's Oscar Rodriguez tells us about how this helps the community who have suffered from power outages in the past.
Pacific Power revealed its newest Wildfire Intelligence Center, allowing them to track and monitor wildfires early and provide information to better inform decision about emergency de-energizations.
And if we see that fire beginning to move away from the equipment, or we assess that the fire is not a threat, then we'll re-energize as quickly as we can. So the Wildfire Intelligence Center really enhances our ability to do that.
This is all to protect first responders, the community, and making sure Pacific Power equipment doesn't become part of the problem. The center is growing towards a 24-hour staffing with a full team of 15 staff members.
The numerous power outages that happened last year in Talent affected many businesses like Sweet Beet here. Pacific Power states they made some new adjustments and add some additional new equipment to minimize those power outages.
However, Pacific Power said this new Wildfire Intelligence Center will benefit Talent customers as the company has taken a closer look into the city after numerous of outages last year. For Sweet Pea, they say they suffered from those outages last year, forcing the business to close down early from their regular hours. Newswatch 12 spoke with Pacific Power about these power outages from Talents and said with this new center, the operations team will have better situational awareness to inform decision about emergency de-energizations related to wildfire.
We've been looking holistically at our system, kind of mapping where we have more outages occurring and trying to make adjustments to the system to minimize the impacts on customers.
From Medford, I'm Oscar Rodriguez.
Moving into the fire watch, crews are continuing to work on the Big Cliff fire that has now grown to nearly 800 acres. Incident management says the fire continues to be active as fire crews struggled with steep terrain. Air operations are resuming to support crews working at the fire's edge. A forest closure is now in place for the Russian wilderness area due to the proximity of the fire. That forest order will remain in effect for the next 2 weeks, and a portion of the Pacific Crest Trail remains closed. And as many still continue to feel the impacts of the 2020 Labor Day fires, Access is launching online resources for fire survivors. The website includes affordable housing options, assistance programs for residents and business owners, as well as ways for others to help. Access's Center for Community Resilience has served more than 2,000 community members since the 2020 fires. And today, Attorney General Dan Rayfield, along with Representative Pam Marsh and Senator Jeff Golden, will be hosting a town hall at Southern Oregon University. Residents are invited to share their experiences on how they have been impacted by federal actions, whether that's healthcare, federal workers, school, immigration, and more. That input will be used to help shape legal strategies to protect the state's interests. The town hall will take place at SOU and the Stevenson Union starting at 6 p.m. And if you're heading out on the Bear Creek Greenway, watch for a long-term closure near Lazy Creek. A section of the Lazy Creek pathway is now closed to all foot and bike traffic, and while construction improves the creek crossing, the closure is expected to last through February of 2026. While this part of the path is blocked off, access to the BMX park, nearby open spaces, and most of the eastern trail remains open. The project includes replacing the current crossing with a more natural roughened stream channel to help fish travel more easily. And a new pedestrian bridge will also be added. And yesterday marked the 80th anniversary of the atomic bombings of Hiroshima, and the city of Ashland hosted a ceremony of remembrance and recommitment. Dozens of Ashland residents gathered at Lithia Park to remember the atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The vigil centered around peace and remembrance and shed light to the atomic bombs and their lasting impact all over the world with speeches, vows, and traditional ceremonies. Speakers from Peace House, a nonprofit organization, focus on peace and justice in the Rogue Valley.
One single atomic bomb transformed 5 of my relatives, so mercilessly, taking all of their lives in one fell swoop. The deaths I witnessed at that time could hardly be described as human deaths.
A gong was sounded at 8:15 a.m. as a moment of silence was held to remember the exact moments the atomic bombs were released over Hiroshima. Events focused on remembering the bombings and lives lost will continue into the weekend. And a new chapter is beginning at the Brit Festival Orchestra after a 2-year search. The ensemble has named Norman Huynh as its next music director. Only the 5th in Brit's 62-year history, this month he begins his 3-year term as music director for the Brit Festival Orchestra, but he's no stranger to the stage here. He once stepped in at the last minute to conduct the Princess Bride concert, and he says that experience has stuck with him.
What I remember most about that experience is the orchestra and the musicians in the orchestra and how the orchestra sounded on stage and how quickly we were able to connect with each other right away. Really, they made my job feel very easy, even though it could have been a stressful situation.
His first programs this season feature a mix of powerful classical pieces, modern electronic-inspired works, and ballet music designed to move both the body and soul. He hopes audiences will leave transformed and says the Brit Orchestra is a rare treasure in a place like Southern Oregon. And families in need of back-to-school clothing are invited to a free school clothing distribution event tomorrow at the Chiloquin Community Center from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Parents and guardians are encouraged to come pick out used school clothing and other essential items at no cost. This community project is sponsored by Healthy Klamath, Just Serve, and Chiloquin Visions in Progress.